Is it too much to ask to not be bored by a video game? It's not that the game is entirely boring, end to end, it's that it's got so many boring parts crammed into it. I don't need to spend time jogging from objective to objective whenever the conversation meets its end. The game right now is Yakuza Kiwami 2, but it's not the only one. Open world is where it's at, and all products that offer it find themselves coming to the same high obstacles. Most of these obstacles deal with how to make the act of pushing the analog stick forward exciting and interesting. It might throw a little something your way, an item, combat, skimpily dressed Japanese women trying to get your attention, but the majority of the time, you're doing one thing, pushing the analog stick forward. Yakuza's way to go about this is throwing random encounters your way, in the form of gangs of identically dressed hoodlums who start brawls with you out of nowhere. It's actually very reminiscent of old RPGs like Dragon Warrior and Final Fantasy. No warning, no way to avoid them, just surprise attacks from anywhere and everywhere. It's better than nothing, and the combat system is enticing enough to tolerate some fights. But it doesn't do much for the immersion, seeing as you're the only person these gangs start in with, not anyone else. Really, it doesn't make sense why so many people would be targeting you in particular. Kiryu, the playable character, doesn't look all that different from anyone else in the street, apart from being modeled better. The largest problem is, aside from watching cutscenes, fighting is the way you progress the main story. So you're trying to get to a plot point that will focus on fistfights, but on your way there, you get stopped by fistfights. Which creates the question, what's the point of slowing me down? Why not condense the experience? Remove the open world, and just have continuous cutscenes and story fights. Now, the open world does feature activities that you can visit, but it's important to remember that it's not the streets you like, it's what they lead to. It's easy to keep all the pros of the activities, which is actually doing them, and get rid of needing to walk to them by making them all selectable in a menu. Have you ever had a time in an open world game of wanting to be at a certain point on the map, but opting not to go because of the time it would take to get there? That's what you're seeing here. I'd love to go to the karaoke bar, porno gallery, and underground casino again and again, but who wants to be pacing back and forth between them? The only real challenge could be the sub-stories, but those could be placed into the story cutscenes at regular intervals, and then selectable from the same menu you can find the activities at. Again, easy access, more appeal. I hope that one day, open worlds can solve this problem. The idea of a huge, explorable, mysterious world is an exciting promise, but not one that's often kept. The sad truth is that most open worlds are about as thrilling as a loading screen, but not one you can go to the bathroom during. Maybe this is as good as it gets for now. We'll have to live with what we've got, even if it's clear there's much progress that needs to be made. I suppose replacing the open world with menus would lower the reason to want to work on them. Progress can only be made through experimentation, and that can't happen if the subject doesn't exist. So perhaps, let's think of open worlds as a necessary evil, a test of what the future might be able to bring. But as always, no guarantees.